Okay, here's phase 2 of the development. Just going to bring in a little more detail now, and pay a little more attention to the leaves. And then I'm just using my pencil to do this, and I'll use a smaller brush. There. Again, this is going to be just still fairly basic as far as the detail goes. Correcting myself a little bit here, I can do that. Now I think at this stage, and this is mainly my proclivity, I have a tendency to want to alter the colors a little bit, and that's my prerogative. I can do that. It's my painting. And any artist that works on a painting has that freedom to go in and change the environment of the painting. If you're just simply working to record what you see and not put in any of your personality, it will look that way, and that's okay too. But personally, I think that when you see the artist's comment and take on what they're working on, it's a lot more interesting. Or the question is, why not just do a photo, and not bother painting at all if you're just simply recording. The more you paint and the more you draw, you'll notice this push-pull factor between the colors, the blacks and whites, the lines. Everything interacts very closely in a painting. So the more you work and the more you develop your skills, the more you will see that as you paint things in, you're also delineating other things just by painting in one thing. By painting in the background, let me explain this. By painting in the background, I'm actually delineating the shape of the plant's profile. I have chosen to add a little red to this to make it kind of a nice rosy color. And I'm working fast enough so that I can actually blend the wet paint. Still a little hard to do with paper, but you can do it. And then I'm going to go back in here, reduce this heavy shadow a little bit, and then soften the whole effect up by feathering that in. So I want to show that there is a big shadow there, but I don't want it to overwhelm. There's some. Right. See, that's better already. I think the next thing I'm going to do is to bring some more highlights into the leaves. Again, just more volume. That's a little see these leaves have a gloss to them, so I want to make sure that that's expressed. There. Now I see that probably these areas in here, they're very dark, which is okay. I want to perforate this a little bit more to emphasize the shapes of the leaves. There are some really dark areas in here where one leaf overlaps the other. And of course, bringing in this detail adds interest and variety to the shapes. Okay. I see that I can bring up spot a little bit here. Go in there a bit to indicate what I'm saying to myself now is, okay, that is a highlight. And then this is a little bit darker, so I'm going to feather that in there. Feather that together. Eliminate some of those hard edges. Make the pot more round. It is round. I could see that I could use this color in here a little bit to bring in a kind of a medium green, which is missing a little bit. Kind of like some of the pencil lines. Now down here, there is a shadow that I want to make sure that I get. And it's interesting because it's almost this pool of amber right in here. Sort of a violet colored. And then down here as well, paper's curling. That often happens working on paper. It's okay though. And then I'm going to go back in here. I'm going to bring this up quite a bit. Slightly different color. contrast of the red with the green of the pot. Just make it a little more colorful. That's my artistic discretion. It's yours too. The other thing is that as I'm going through and repainting everything, the quality of the surface of the paint is changing, and it's becoming more solid, less of a wash, which is good. One of the things that unifies a painting is the surface. So if you have a surface that's treated pretty much the same throughout, you have a unification. Now, there are techniques in painting where thin and thick paint are used together, and that's fine too. But in this case, I'm working for a consistency of surface, taking out the wash and putting in more solid colors as a unification thing. And why not, you know, add a little bit. These paints dry pretty fast. It's interesting that in this composition there's almost two different areas of light and dark here. Where the light is hitting this side. And then kind of curling around on the pot. My feeling is that these books could sit a little better on the plane that they are on. That red is really strong. That's a strong red. It's cadmium, I think, cadmium red. I'm just reconsidering this whole color area right in here. Picking up the kind of old, scruffy book that they are. I see that I'm going to have to unify the background a little bit more. Right now we have two color sections here, which is, I think, kind of interesting. I'm not quite sure. I like the background the way it is. Something about maybe this being too strong. So I'm going to change it. I'm going to make a color, bring up the background a little bit. On a canvas, you can paint and repaint as much as you need to, and actually see, this to me looks just a little more unified, this color. Work it into these shapes a little bit here. It still shows that it's the background, but the color is closer to what the foreground is. Bring that up a little bit more and then tone it down. I'll show you how to do that. Like that. So that's basically the second phase of getting a little more detail, looking carefully at what the colors are doing, what the composition is doing, and developing it just a little bit further.